Welcome to Zero Hit Points. It's June 12th.
You just didn't want to forget it this time, huh?
I say it quickly. There's no chance.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Ray Miller, and he 3. It's Matt Amberg.
I don't know how I didn't see that one coming. It might be even a repeat. I don't know, but I just don't know how I didn't see it coming. It's impossible to tell.
It's because I'm crafty. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, I thought you were gonna actually hold up like a bunny that's made of like cotton balls and glue. And
No, that was like faux, like Beastie Boys crafty.
Oh, I get it. If I were the Beastie Boys, I would definitely want to focus this entire show on telling people about E3.
Okay, sure. I mean, normally, this being the Zero Hit Points podcast, we talk about video games for sure. Whereas usually it's a balance between games we have played and games we haven't played. It's just pure games we haven't played this time.
Okay, I do just can I give an update though on one game that I did play?
It's the game of life.
Okay, I'm Jonathan Blade. Jonathan Blade has been paying attention to this. Okay. I've been playing a lot of Bloodborne, and I have been posting the updates on Twitter because it's hard, and I get freakishly like a massive rush of adrenaline when I'm finishing up the bosses. And over the weekend, I was actually able to finish up 3 of them, which was just mind-boggling to me.
It sounds like a lot of them.
It was, and they took a long time. And I got to a 4th boss, and he beat the piss out of me. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. But it was cool, man. I love that game. I'm having so much fun, like after coming back to it, figuring it out, and it's great. That's all. Let's move on.
It sounds like you're getting some of the, because from what I understand, part of the draw of that thing is that it's community based in a way that's not like, it doesn't necessarily advertise that at all.
No.
But part of the fun of that game is kind of figuring it out that way and seeing you go to Twitter with kind of some of this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all after the fact, considering, this isn't, day one with this stuff. So it's probably a little bit harder to come by, but it is interesting seeing that still viable.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And there's like notes and stuff in the game that people write and all that. And that certainly, like I've been paying way more attention to that, and way more attention to the dogs that are barking in the background. And I've been paying way more attention to the specters where people have died. Because you can kind of see what they were doing and go, okay, so you can kind of maybe gauge what they were fighting a little bit, or at least where things got backed up, and it's kind of helpful.
Huh.
So anyways.
Speaking of backed up, wait until next week where we'll talk about...
Bloodborne again.
Probably a little bit of Bloodborne. I have also, for all intents and purposes, I've rolled credits on Burnout, so I have like 2 more things I want to say, just kind of an overall thing about that.
Cool.
And then if we're lucky, God of War, I got another 2-3 hours in on that. So I'm now to the lake of 9.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah. I'm almost done with the game, right?
Yeah, you are very close. Depending on how much stuff you choose to do, you're right there.
But that's next week. This week, E3. We did say there's 3 press conferences we're going to talk about. I think Square has also happened by now. Us recording this on Monday. Secret's out. But we're going to skip that because I guess they didn't drop too much. And what they did talk about, we'll end up talking about soon anyways, because some of it was... It sounds like you said Tomb Raider was maybe the most interesting thing they talked about.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Tomb Raider looked a little different. It was a little more... it was a little more stealthy and kind of... There's a little more Metal Gear-ish-nishness to it.
Okay,
kinda
so
cool,
we'll get there because that's been kind of on my radar big time. I'm thinking about a trilogy play with that thing. So, yeah. We'll have something to say, but not now. We're going to do EA, Microsoft, and Bethesda, and in order, and quite possibly in order of announcements within the shows. First thing I want to say, though, is that we're not going to talk about everything. I know in the past we've tried to do that, and it's kind of come off fun. But at the end, I feel like listening to that, it kind of turns into a list, which doesn't really do anybody any good.
Yeah, it gets bulky and it gets a little out of sorts and unruly.
Right, yes. So we're sticking with the stuff that we have something to say about with which we have something to say.
You know what? We're really good at podcasting, so you'll figure that out. We're professionals.
That doesn't mean we're not going to skip some probably really interesting stuff or some really interesting announcements. But a lot of times that's all they have was like, this thing exists. And it's kind of like, well, I mean, even if we're super interested in that, it's kind of lame to just be like, hey, this.
Yeah, here's a perfect example. Star Wars, Jedi, Fallen Order.
Yes. I was led to believe it was a really bad announcement too. Like this came from the crowd. What's her? Andrea Renee?
Correct.
Okay. She did a fantastic job as far as press conferences go, and maybe we'll have some final thoughts at the end of this thing. But she went to the crowd at one point and spoke with Vince Zampella, and I heard that the back and forth with him was like super embarrassing and awkward and dumb. And I actually didn't think it was that bad at all, really. I mean, it wasn't like stage performance level.
It wasn't great. It was just whatever. Who cares?
There was nothing there other than it's called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. He said holiday 2019. I'm sure that's pretty soft. I'm still, the only reason this is on here is I'm still interested in a game made by that company that is in the Star Wars universe. Maybe it's just Call of Duty or Titanfall in the Star Wars universe. I don't care. That's a sell.
No, I do. With them behind it, yeah, I'm for sure. Like, I'm very, very interested in what we get out of this.
I'm more surprised, I should say, that Star Wars Battlefront 2 made the stage at all.
Yeah,
and
I am glad it did, because boy, did that game really need it.
Well, it did need it. I was just surprised they gave it, I guess.
No,
I thought this was going to be something they backgrounded, like don't talk about the thing that, that thing.
I didn't lay that on thick enough, did I?
Oh, maybe?
No, because
it did need it.
It definitely did not.
Oh, did not.
We did not need. No, we did not need. That was no.
All they talked about was that they're doing solo content and they're going to do Clone Wars content. Yeah. It's never been, yeah. I mean, Solo is kind of getting lukewarm reception, and the Clone Wars, I know a lot of people love. I did start that show, but never got too much through it. Did you watch that at all?
I never did, and it wasn't for lack of being interested in it. It was seriously like it was one of those things that never took precedence for me. And then I hear that it's really, really good, and Rebels is really good, and yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'd be into watching them. I just haven't.
Yeah, we started, like I said, but in any event, the Clone Wars as a part of that fiction has never been something that's super interested me.
Me neither, and especially after seeing it. And this has nothing to do with like Lucas's vision of it. And I don't know why we're going off on this tangent, but we're gonna. It doesn't have to do with like the vision and what he put on the screen so much as I just never wanted to have an answer to that. And it's like it is similar to the Solo thing, right? Like I still want to see the movie, and it could still be a really fun movie, and it could be great. It could be really cool and whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's answering questions I never wanted answered.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's the big problem. Like I like having a little ambiguity. I like the ambiguity, and
well, especially because the Clone Wars was the thing that's like, that's why stormtroopers exist. That's where somehow Boba Fett's armor came from. There's definitely an aspect to it that's like explaining it kind of ruins it, or the mystery's gone afterwards.
And thankfully, this is all relevant to video games.
I love that this is all from Star Wars Battlefront.
Hey, if you guys want to hear us talk about movies, come to Thursday, Book Club for Movies. Join us.
In any event, still, it relates to why I'm not terribly interested even in what they did show from Battlefront 2, which is a game I like and will return to at some point, whatever. I think the high point of the show is this thing that came next, was Sea of Solitude.
Man, a lot of good stuff for this. So Cornelia Geppert from Jomi Games. She is the creative director and she's the writer for this game. She came out on stage, number one, wearing a Kraftwerk shirt, which just tickled me all over the place. I was like, "Oh, you're adorable! You're German and you're wearing a Kraftwerk shirt."
It was an extremely German presentation.
It was efficient but emotional, and that's actually what caught me was that she's clearly excited to be there, but then as she started talking about the game, you could see that it was like she was getting emotional talking about.
Also very genuine. Yeah.
And possibly legitimately maybe the best presentation from a developer I've ever seen because of that. Like there was no pretense to it. She probably had something to say and there was probably a script to it, but it just didn't feel like that. And then she got into the game and that it's, it's a personal game to her and it's about a character who basically becomes a demon and wants to learn how to not be a monster or be a monster and not become.
Well, she leads with the quote, "When humans get too lonely, they turn into monsters." Which is fantastic. Like, okay, like anything she has to say after that, which again, the whole thing was so German. And so like the whole time I was like, Germans, what are you going to think of next? Like here's, Kraftwerk. And she's like, the game is about loneliness.
It is. And and I think it's about depression too. And she talked about that and it was great. And I do highly recommend if you watch anything from E3, check that out because it was just so good. And I think the game actually looks pretty brilliant.
It does. And yeah, I mean, we don't get too much about the gameplay at all, but I mean, it looks great.
It's got a great art style and it looks, to me, it looked kind of like there's some exploration stuff to it. Like it goes
for sure
third person and you're kind of over the shoulder a little bit higher than that, I guess.
The exploration is of yourself.
Oh, look at you. Mm-hmm. You should be a game developer.
This was I don't know if it was immediately followed by, but very closely followed by what I think might have been the low point of the show for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Full disclosure, not my game type, so that didn't help.
Nope.
But concerning a franchise, I do have a history with Command & Conquer: Red Alert. I played a lot.
Yeah.
It might be the PC game I've played the most ever.
Man, I can't even imagine you behind the wheels of a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I drove that Gateway 1997 into the ground. Let me tell you, whatever that thing was. But this is probably like a Clash of Clans type thing. It's a mobile.
It is exactly that. It's Command & Conquer Clash of Clans. Command the clans and conquer the clash. Clash away. Guys, smack
and
a doodle.
They did.
Yeah.
It was a triple bomb too for me because the way they presented it was by shoutcasting a match between two guys, and
which by the way was absolutely not exciting at all. Like,
I mean, I could see playing that thing. It's quick and you have a very clear objective.
I'm not talking about like whether or not it's quick or a good game. Even I'm just saying that was not exciting.
Right.
Like that does not require a shoutcast in any way.
No. Yes. Also true.
Please never do it.
Yeah. Which indicative by the way the guy who shoutcasted the most or introduced himself as a shoutcaster. One of the first things he says before they're getting started was something about, "Here we go, great genre." Like, okay,
kill me now.
We're shoutcasting the genre at this point.
Kill me now. Give me my money.
Anyway, so yeah, triple. That was a real bummer. But yeah, okay. They ended the show with a showstopper. Everybody's been waiting to hear about Anthem, and as disinterested as I've kind of been, because the whole pitch is it's another Destiny, and we've talked about this. Like even if it's another good. Or not, I don't know why I say it, another good Destiny. Even if it's a good, better Destiny, I'm still like, well, maybe I've had my fun there or whatever. But
there's a but here.
They won me over a little bit with what they showed. They showed a lot.
Really?
I mean, not completely, but they're
the fact that the needle has bounced at all with you on this is actually no. Look, I'm legitimately shocked because I know that there was a little bit of a burn on Destiny, partially my fault, mea culpa.
Yeah, I'll go back to it someday. I still got some stuff unfinished there,
I get it. Nope.
You don't even have a game anymore.
No, I do not, and I will never ever own anything that has that brand, that emblem on it. No, but like. How that ended, I mean, ostensibly overall for you, like it just felt like, you got it, you understood it, you're done with it, and that's fine because we've talked about this before. You are not the foremost or expert needing to play the online arenas.
Right,
You're just like not super.
I was
into
definitely
it.
part of it. But also, I'm even more than that. I don't like returning to like sequels. I've been most recently very tired of. Like, I get that their iteration, there might even be better iterations, but they're never drastically different from the first game to the point where I want to dedicate as much time as I did to the first. I get the idea. I had the experience. I want the next thing. Right.
I was not won over. I was more put off actually by it. Yeah. I just don't. It looks right now. It looks and sounds like Destiny, and while it's got a different veneer, I just don't know that I'm really that into it. And I mean, the veneer looks nice. It's real pretty. It's got real cool look to it. I love the jetpack thing. Like,
love the aesthetic.
Like, yeah, it's great.
They're mechanical in the face of Destiny's, like sci-fi, I guess.
Yeah, sure. No, I totally agree. Yeah, it's got a different, it's got a different look to it for sure. But if it's just going to end up being the same thing where it's you go find a blinking light, or you find a wisp, or you find a gnome in a tree, and he says, "Hello, I need help. Oh my gosh, the leaves are attacking. Go get me 18 of them." And then you go get 18 of them, and he goes, "Thank you." Boop, and then you get 7 credits or whatever.
I can't decide if I'm more or less interested in the mission structure you've just designed.
I do make good video game concepts, yeah. Like, but if it's just that crap, and then there's like it's another story line that follows along the Destiny path of you can do this with other people are going to be there, you instance into your boss thing. Okay, so
that's the part of me, like, I agree with that's the part of me that was disinterested and has been. Here's where some of it turned around for me while they were talking. Their pitch, and they said it a couple times, was our world, my story. So it being a Bioware product, they realized that as a studio, they have this very story-driven nature to their games. It was one of the things that people went to Mass Effect for.
Yeah, and they bring that up. They brought up Mass Effect and Dragon's Age, and that people like to play them and want more storylines.
So that's obviously where I'm at. Like, I that's a good pitch for me. And I kept going back and forth because they would pitch that. They'd be like, we want more of a story core. And then we can add to it forever and ever. And I'm like, okay, stop. They get me with something, and then they, like, every sentence basically ends in, and we're going to keep doing it until people stop paying us money. Like, that was the unspoken end of every sentence.
Right.
And that just, that was definitely something that's in the back of my mind always. So it's still kind of wrestling with that.
Right.
But if they can somehow execute in a different way on this story idea, that's definitely gets me more interested. But then, I was thinking, like you said, if the mission structure is still just kind of that, like I'm going and doing something, which in the end, like, it's kind of hard to get away from that. So that would be a strong departure if it's not just basically fetch quests everywhere.
Right.
But then I started to think, well, what do I want out of this? Do I just want, because a lot of the times, like, that did it for us in Destiny, because we were still just talking about other stuff the whole time. Like, this is where the whole podcast game or the whole chat game comes into effect, right?
Sure.
People don't necessarily play these games for that. They play it to be there and just hang out and do whatever, which is something else I've kind of strayed from recently as well. But this, at the very least, got me thinking if like what I'm actually looking for. Like, is this good enough in one way that I'm okay with another game that's just, it's fun to play with you guys for a while again, but
sure.
I don't know.
No, man, I look, this is one of those games that because it's a different story, because it's different stuff, if you get the game, I'll get the game. I've suckered you into enough crap. This is my Destiny now. I'm your Destiny.
Wordplay.
Yeah. But yeah, like, this is not something I'm going to go out and get on my own to play. I'm not, period. But again,
I'm not there yet either.
It's got enough interest that, if you pick it up, yeah, okay, I'll pick it up. I mean, because if you're drawn to it, that says more to me than if I'm drawn to it, because I have no taste.
Well, they showed a lot of it, and beyond, like, the world building, they didn't. I mean, the combat looks good, but they don't give you much beyond, what this might be doing terribly different from Destiny, and that's what I still need, basically. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, they did mention there was a specific thing that was brought up where like once you go to your bases or whatever, that's where it becomes like a single player thing.
Right.
And that's where you kind of build your story because you're not necessarily following what everybody else is doing. And then you go into the world, and if people are doing the same thing, great. If they're not, they can follow you or whatever.
Right.
Which, sure, I mean, that's cool. If there is enough variety there where it's not the same kind of thing over and over and over again, which again, I'm not actually opposed to fetch quests. There's lots of things that I enjoy. Like I actually enjoyed, this is one of those things about Destiny where they did something right for me, was that sword quest that before everybody got swords, there was, I actually really had fun with that, where it was like partially a fetch quest. Then there was the actual fight at the end that you could do. Yeah. That's really cool. I'm totally okay with that. I don't mind the occasional, like, you can do this as a fetch quest on your way to do other things so that you don't have to, it's not like it's not something that's going to totally take you off the path. Right. Kind of like, and maybe that's kind of what the patrols were. I mean, but I feel like we focused on the patrols instead of doing other things. And
Destiny changed so many times too, but you bring a good point in that to some extent, Anthem's got to have some grinding in it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, or do they get rid of that entirely? I mean, Mass Effect wasn't devoid of it. You were mining planets, or you were doing something that, it's.
What is the like the mining planets thing? That was a kind of a good diversion, right? Like it doesn't feel like grinding, even though it totally feels like grinding.
Yes, right. So
what is that going to? What is that going to be here? Yeah, no, that's an excellent question.
But that was it for EA. Yeah, actually, pretty strong show, I think, overall. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that one.
No, I think we covered it.
Okay, all right. Microsoft was up next, and they led with whatever Halo Infinite is. Ugh. And I know, but I feel like a new Halo comes out, we can mention it. In the very least, we can mention that I'm not really interested in it. Never going back to it. Divorced from that segment of video gaming. We played Halo 5. You can go back and listen to many times. We probably talked about it. That was a game wherein I realized that as good as it was, it's a fine game. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like Bungie Halo is my Halo, basically. Yeah. It's just not. Didn't feel right. Didn't feel. Yeah. I don't know. Not. And then what they did with the multiplayer was completely turned me off. And I liked it at first, and then I played it more, and then it was just kind of a drag. And yeah, it's as well designed as it might have been. And yeah, I feel like at first we played it and we're like, oh, well, the microtransactions are this, that, and the other, and we can live with that, and it's okay. But yeah, looking back, you're like, you know what? I'd rather that wasn't there at all. Right. They could have done this in a different way. But, Halo Infinite, anyways, great. We're not talking about it. Move on. Whatever it is. So... they showed a trailer for the next From Software game, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and I think this was the game that they do like a super mini teaser of this at the Game Awards or something. Yes. Is this that one? Uh-huh. Okay, all right. It is. You're correct. Other question for you: does it look like a Souls-like? Like, did that combat look like it was a Souls game? I can't speak to Souls, but for the Bloodborne aspect, it definitely had a little bit of a. I felt like I saw the connection there. Like I immediately kind of went, okay, I think I understand how a lot of this is going to work. There were some other mechanics in there that like the ninja has like a hook shot, and that's kind of a new thing. And I don't know, for me anyways, but it definitely has that look and feel to the combat. The look changes with the fact that it's samurai thing, or whatever, ninjas. I don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know. Can't possibly know. They only showed a trailer. Yeah, I only wanted to ask you that question because I was curious. I mean, it's the next From Software game is a big thing. So. Yeah, and I'm totally like I'm super into checking it out because after Bloodborne, like, yeah, after Bloodborne, sold. Then they showed a Crackdown 3 and. That game appears to be doing just fine. Terry Crews made you feel better about yourself, huh? He was fine in it too. He was it just looks like it's going to be the next Crackdown, and that's what I'm looking for. If it comes out the way it looks there, and multiplayer works like co-op and everything, yeah, I'm super into it. And that's February. Yeah, well, we'll see. A game's been delayed 3 times now. Cross your fingers for 2 more. Let's get a number 5 going in there and then roll it out. And then they also showed that Metro Exodus was coming out in February 22nd.
Yeah, I mean, those are quality games. Pick it up immediately.
Looks good. Yep, looks good. But not much more on that. Forza Horizon 4 was next. That's coming out October 2nd.
Yeah.
And will come out to Game Pass holders.
Yeah, day and date.
You sounded pretty excited about this.
Yeah. Forza Horizon 3 was great. I had a ton of fun with it. We had fun with it, I think.
Very good game.
Like overall, that was just a ton of fun to play. Like it was a great racing game without being Forza 7, you know? And this just, you know, visually it looks better. I love the seasons concept they have full on seasons, you know, going from summer to fall to winter to spring. And each time the seasons change, the challenges change, the races that are available change, the cars
New areas were opened for
right.
the winter. They showed the stuff froze over so they could get to different places.
Yeah. And the seasons, they last one full week, like in human time, which I think is
Game
really cool.
time or connected world time or real world
time.
Really?
One full
That's
week
interesting.
of 7 days. That's how the seasons are going to go.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm super into this. Like I said, Forza Horizon 3 I thought was a ton of fun. This looks like it's another good step forward for them. I expect that the car selection will also be excellent. I will be looking forward to making the 0 hit points liveries again and finding my Barbie Jeep.
Right.
It's important. I need my Barbie Jeep.
I wonder if they'll let you import stuff.
Oh,
I feel
man.
like that's been a thing in the past.
If I could import my Barbie Jeep, whoo.
Day one.
Day one. No, I'm getting this day one. I am definitely.
Barbie Jeep or no?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
This is a day one for me. And actually, Sean's in too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's on Game Pass. You're gonna have Game Pass.
Guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have Game Pass by then. I expected to hold it until Crackdown 3 came out, and then they've just kept delaying it. So it's kind of like they're sneakily ringing.
No, look.
However much money I'm paying for it a month now.
So here's what you do. Okay, you cancel it tomorrow. Or today.
No,
whatever.
yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. You can just cancel and pick it up whenever.
Yeah, and then just pick it up in October, which will be perfect because then we'll have Forza right up until February, and you've got it all.
But also, I mean, hearing that you and Sean are doing it obviously doesn't help. But I don't know how interested I am in this thing because it looks great and everything we've talked about is cool. But I just can't imagine it's terribly different from Forza Horizon 3.
Probably not. I mean,
which wasn't terribly different from Forza Horizon 2, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be different. You know, different landscape. This one takes place in England,
Britain. Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm super into that.
No, that's fine.
You know?
That's new
I
location
understand
is good.
your
and
reticence.
It did look better.
I understand your reticence because it goes back to what we just talked about with sequels and how you're not super into them. But
coming off Burnout Paradise, like I'm, if I ever play a racing game less than a year apart, it's rare. So I might have spent my racing game quota, but again, we'll see.
Hey, who knows?
Then they came out with a bunch of acquired studios, and this is important because, and I feel like we've talked about this in limited capacity with Game Pass and stuff like this. Microsoft has very much been headed in this direction, kind of being the trailing platform at the moment. Mm-hmm. Like they very much invested in this idea of having a Game Pass where they can, you know, put all their games and attract people and get a monthly fee, as opposed to putting out a bunch of first-party titles, which they really haven't been doing. So they are acquiring studios, and they announced they did that with the Initiative as a brand new studio, actually. But they did buy Undead Labs, State of Decay guys, Playground Games, Forza Horizon guys, Ninja Theory.
That's huge.
Kind of crazy.
That to me is the biggest one. It is Ninja Theory.
Nuts.
The Senuous Sacrifice.
Yeah, coming off of that game too. Like that studio's hot. Like they probably wish they would have done the deal before that game came out, honestly.
So they actually put out a great video explaining why they went with Microsoft and all that. And you know, of course, part of it obviously is the underlying, they paid us money, and a lot of it. But sure. One of the things they did mention was that they said, you know, when we went into the negotiations for this, our one of our main requirements was we want full autonomy. You can't tell us what to do. We're going to make our own games. And they said, that's what we want. We don't want to tell you anything. All we have is, here's Microsoft's backing. You want the You want to use the promo stuff that we've got? You want us to market it? Done.
Ninja Theory's proven, man. I mean, I know that's many people probably don't agree with me there because I liked, games like gosh, I forget the title literally every time. Enslaved. Good gosh. Mm-hmm. I know people weren't super hot on that, but they do. Even their kind of B tier stuff, I've always been really interested in and really liked.
I remember people loving Heaven's Blade.
Yeah.
That was well received.
But to see them investing in this service, like this is where they're placing their chips. Like this is where they are competing, I guess, is super smart. Like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Buying these studios to do that, like with them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they actually have one other studio they picked up, Compulsion Games, the creators of We Happy Few.
Yeah, which that was kind of the next thing they went into as well, which that game has been in early access for like years now, right?
At least a full year minimum.
But it has a final date, August 10th. It's kind of been a weird trajectory for me anyway, because I feel like everybody was into that thing because it had this great look, and then they found out it was like a survival game, and they were like, oh.
Right.
And then like this latest thing looks like they're producing content in response to that response.
Right.
Almost.
I'm super confused by it because Beth was actually watching with me and she's like, this is very like BioShock. And I was like,
yeah, that's what everybody said. Yeah.
Maybe.
And I think that's the thing, is that maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing whatever the state the game is in right now, it's got to be pretty close to what it's going to be like when it comes out. So if that thing's still a survival game, like, okay.
Yeah, I have never actually dug into what the game was. I for some reason thought it was an all online game for a while. I don't know. I've never dug into it.
Maybe we'll check it out. Who
knows? It's something I do want to look at, and that it's coming out August 10th. I don't feel like jumping into early access now. I feel like this is one of those things where I'll just wait and see what people say about it.
Yeah.
The next game that they talked about, did you just wanted to like hang 10 with, or
bro?
Like, yeah, dude. Session. It's a new skateboarding game, and you'll have to correct me on terminology here.
No, you're correct so far.
It looked like they were ripping it up.
Sure, I'll allow it.
I don't know. What do you think about this? Like I'm not the foremost expert. I never played any of the skate games. I only played Tony Hawk, and I only played that up to a certain point.
Right. No, I played them all. I was an amateur skateboarder. We can say that again.
Braggart.
So of course, yes. I went to film school.
Ryan Braggadocio Miller.
But so I heard you say something along the lines of it being a spiritual successor to Skate.
That's what
was that just something.
That's what it looks like. Was
your words, or did you hear some? Oh, okay.
No,
okay,
that's what it looked like. I told you it looked like. I didn't use those exact words. I said this looks really reminiscent of Skate because
that's what it was. Okay.
It doesn't have that Tony Hawk look or feel even at all from that trailer. That looked like it was going for technical stuff.
So that was the big division between Tony Hawk and Skate. Both games of which I love. If you ask me to choose a favorite, I will actually choose Skate. Like I liked that in the end more than Tony Hawk.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean. And part of that probably goes to Activision's handling of Tony Hawk. Like they totally did the thing that they do where they release one every year until everybody's sick of it and they've killed the franchise, And
then they release one with a motion board.
Yeah, I did not pick that up, actually. That was let's just say that franchise has a history, and while Up and Down doesn't even do it justice, because that game especially is a good example, because I'm a fan of Tony Hawk. He's done a ton for the sport, and he has a crazy story to tell. But then he has stuff like where he's a millionaire and he has business dealings with. I mean, he was behind that peripheral 100%, and that peripheral 100% was a piece of garbage.
Oh yeah.
Like there's nobody out there that's like. I mean, anyways. He doesn't work with Activision anymore. He's not a part of this game as far as I know.
No.
Skate was an approach that I ended up liking more, and this definitely seems to be along those lines. I can tell, though, it looks a little floaty, and I hesitate to say this, but it's a little bit of what I could see in Pro Skater 5. This doesn't look that bad. That's why I hesitate to mention it, but it does look like it's not as polished as Skate was. Like,
well, maybe it gets tightened up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. And in any event, I might still play it, depending. Whatever, it doesn't matter, because the next thing I talked about was Cuphead.
It's a day one. It's a day one. You can't.
Man.
It's day one.
In 2019, it is.
Yeah, it's, you know what? But it's early 2019. It's gonna be like January or something.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
But this is called The Delicious Last Course. It's DLC.
I did not even realize that until you said that.
Delicious Last Course DLC. I love this. They've got a new character. They're adding a new playable character.
Oh, repurposed character, it seems.
Sure, fine. If you've got to do that.
Lady
Gaga.
Oh, I can't remember her name.
Lady Conundrum.
Chalice. Miss Chalice?
I think it was Lady Chalice, wasn't it?
Okay. Anyways, they've made her a third playable character called Miss Chalice, maybe. Sometimes watching the video is not enough. You got to write things down and plan on telling them to other people during your podcast at a later date.
Miss Chalice.
Miss Chalice. So I guess I was right. I don't know. It's been so long now. I don't care. Super stoked. There's going to be new bosses, doesn't matter. Whatever.
I'm excited.
Super excited.
What this means is that you have to come here though this time for us to play
Deal.
this.
It's a special occasion. So.
It's like an anniversary.
And then Tunic took main stage. I'm actually super excited about that.
That looked there was something lost in translation, I guess, when you talked about this.
Well, it was during PAX, so yeah, there was probably a lot lost in translation, and it was among 10 other things or whatever we talked about.
I love the look of this game.
It's always looked great. Yeah.
I'm super into. I've never looked at this, so I like all of this. I'm super into it. I want to check this game out.
I want to say this came during the PC show or whatever. That the PC press conference. It's the fake one they do for E3 every year. Because what does that even mean? Like, but there was like a quick, and I think it had a different name back then even. And yeah, just the look. I was like, want to find out about that game. And then it was at PAX when we were there. It had already been rebranded Tunic, but it was at the thing with I want to say Night in the Woods and like 2 other games I played that I can't remember now. But yeah, that thing plays how it looks, and it looks like a voxel Zelda and is gorgeous, etc. Everything. When I played it then, and I can't even remember what I said back then, I felt like it definitely needed more. Like the combat's there, and it's Zelda. Like there's not much to be there, but it did feel still a little bit empty. Like it needs more to kind of maybe even just more life to the world.
Sure.
Yeah, Tuna looks good for sure.
I'm super into it. Yeah.
Happy to see it take main stage.
Then they said, oh, hey, guess what? Here's like a really ridiculous thing for Battletoads. It's coming in 2019. Then...
Well, okay, wait.
There was nothing to it.
Well, Battletoads for me was always something that I was into, but kind of not aware enough of as a Ninja Turtles knockoff. Like I fell for the Ninja Turtles knockoff, basically, is what happened.
Yeah,
and now it's become its own thing where it
Ryan,
exists.
I love GoBots Miller.
Good pull. But to see, I guess it's just, I don't know. Like I like the idea of Battletoads existing again, but like a 4K updated version of that game. I don't know. Like they maybe they get the attitude right, but the attitude was kind of
it was
always off.
It was
anyways.
Batitude.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Battletude.
Ugh. I know. I got nothing for it. Like I played the game. I watched the cartoon. It was fine. I liked it. I don't know what it is.
It was a cartoon?
Yeah. What's it gonna be? Like, what's this gonna be? I don't know.
What's Just Cause 4 gonna be? Because I didn't know existed before this trailer.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be another unoptimized piece of crap. That's what it's probably gonna be. I am still harboring a lot of anger towards Just Cause 3 for being really fun, having so many cool things for it, and being so unoptimized that the game runs like absolute dog crap and I just hate it. So
Just Cause 4 is the Just Cause 3 hotfix, actually.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's super fun. It's Rico Rodriguez. Guess what he's doing? He's in another country doing the same crap he always does. Unoptimized.
December 4th this year, man.
Yeah, they got nothing else going on. They're clearly not fixing Just Cause 3. Why not start working on the other one? They're like, these games
just gave up. They're like, well, Just Cause 4, huh?
Can't do anything else about it.
Let's start it.
It's built and out the door.
That's a bummer. I mean, I feel your pain with that, what is it, Onrush? That MotorStorm thing coming out. It might even already be out in some capacity, which looks super cool, but is made by Codemasters, the guys that have still left me hanging with that Micro Machines game. In fact, it looks like they've wholesale taken a lot of the structure from Micro Machines and dumped it onto Onrush. It's funny because to tell you how unplayed Micro Machines is, it's funny to hear everybody talk about it like it's never existed before or like it's new. And I'm like, no, they've already done this very recently and left them all out in the cold. So whatever. Let's talk about Gears 5.
Pass. Wait, which Gears? Do you want to talk about Gears 5? Do you want to talk about the Pop Funko Gears troll thing?
So I heard about 2 Gears games. One of them was like an XCOM Gears game.
Yes.
That's not the Funko thing, though. The Funko's not a game, right? That was literally a Funko commercial?
I think it was a joke, yes. I hope it was a joke. I took it as a joke. If it's not, they said it was going to be a mobile game, but they didn't give any other information about it, so who knows?
Okay, whatever.
And then there's the Gears XCOM game, and then there's Gears 5. All I know is there's too much Gears.
Gears 5 was going to be a leap.
No, Gears 5 is definitely not happening.
No.
Divorced franchise. You and Halo have burned yourselves. I've burned the bridges.
Yeah, whatever. Gears 5. At the very least, they didn't bookend their conference with Halo and Gears 5.
Oh, man. That would have been just such a bummer.
They had a one more thing moment where the thing got hacked and they showed a trailer for Cyberpunk 2077.
100% in on that.
Man, that looks so good.
No question.
Good gosh.
Give me The Witcher, a Witcher rich storyline and world of that type.
But they nail the aesthetic. It's like Blade Runner, but better type thing.
Give me the gameplay of basically just skin The Witcher and put all of it in. And I'd buy that. Like I'm in, and if that's what this is, I'm fine with it. I'm really, really fine with it.
Yeah. So that was Microsoft. We're going to keep it moving. Bethesda was up next, and they started with Rage 2. Also, turns out Andrew WK is a musician, not just a Twitter personality. So
you didn't know that?
All learned something. I had no idea.
All right.
I'm old.
Not by that much, dude.
That's true. I guess these are pretty recent. I'm okay.
You're out of touch.
Rage 2. I'm definitely out of touch. Yeah.
Hall & Oates, come on.
I'm not that out of touch. Come on, man.
All right.
I don't even know what that joke means. Is that making fun of Hall & Oates or making fun of me?
A little bit of both. Yeah.
I'm a man eater. So Rage 2.
Whoa, here he comes.
Also a man eater, if you think about it. They spent a lot of time on it, and I think it looks exactly how you would think a game from that collaboration of id and Avalanche would look like. There you go.
I don't know what that means, but I guess I like it because that presentation helped me understand what they were doing with it a little bit more, and I liked it. I'm actually pretty excited to see if that comes out as good as it could, because right now it looks like it made Borderlands, but with the Rage skin.
Yeah, sure.
And probably maybe less humor. And if that's what it is, yeah, I'm into it. Like I will get into that. That's cool to me.
I need to see what the games as service hooks are.
Yeah, definitely.
The gameplay definitely looked like I could see us having fun from what they showed. By the end of the trailer, I was kind of overloaded.
Sure.
Like that thing's got tood.
Yeah, they could have calmed that down a mite bit.
Well, I mean, but then it wouldn't be what it is. So I'm not faulting it for being what it is, but it might be too much for me type thing.
Well, and you've got to, I mean, you know, what is it actually in game? I don't know.
Yeah. So Rage 2. Doom Eternal was the next thing, and They did say it's a sequel to the last Doom game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hell on Earth, baby.
They did talk about Hell on Earth. They talked about having more demons. That was about it. It's the little eternal thing at the end of the title that's kind of scaring me. Like it's and not in like a Doom way either. Like
no. You're thinking it's an online thing, aren't you?
They're not trying to allude to that, right? Like this isn't Doom
no.
as a service.
I think this is definitely the simple, straight up. It's a single player Doom, story,
so.
and
that is all I want.
Yeah, no, it's. Give me all of it. They said it's going to be bigger maps, more monsters, more everything. So yeah, and Hell on Earth.
Guess. I mean, the first Doom, it's easy to forget that it had like Snap Map, and it had that multiplayer aspect to it. So I guess there was a lot more going on. There was a 3-tiered thing going on there, whereas we just only want to remember and talk about and play the campaign. So I guess as long as they can do that again, like they can have an eternal aspect to it somewhere, as long as we get that third of the game that we got last time. I guess. Yeah,
I just want, and I don't, and again, it's not even really about the story. Like, it is really just about running through and having fun.
But the story was good.
The story was fun. It was super great. I loved it. But I will, this is one of those games that kind of gets a pass that if the story is even awful, I'm still going to really have fun with it if the gameplay is there.
The gameplay was freaking solid enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then they talked about pray in a couple different ways.
Pray. You got to pray just to make it today.
They talked about, I think, new modes that are coming out, kind of whatever. The two things that sounded most interesting were Moon Crash, which is a procedurally generated kind of simulation. There's a whole simulation aesthetic to it. But it sounds like it's procedurally generated in the way that's perfect for that game, and which I haven't even played yet. But knowing that there's mimics and stuff that is different items, and you don't know, and that's where all the tension comes from, to make a procedurally generated thing of that where that's always changing seems brilliant.
No, yeah, it is pretty great, and I'm super excited for that. I want to go back to Prey. You glossed over the modes though, and one that I just have to. I'm so excited that they finally realized we should just put this in is Prop Hunt.
I totally missed that.
Prop Hunt is a multiplayer game where you have one person as the finder, and then everybody else is a prop in the game. And in this case, it makes perfect sense because you're mimics.
Oh, is this Typhon Hunter?
Maybe. Yeah, it's
okay.
Just again, it's called Prop. It's Prop Hunt. It's the same mode.
They already have a mode called Prop Hunt?
No, well, TF2 has a Prop Hunt. There's a Prop Hunt is an old mode
gotcha.
name. This is not a new thing. It's just perfect for this.
I'm out of touch.
Yes. We're out of touch.
I've triggered another song. Okay, yeah, I think this is. I mean, the Typhon Hunter thing sounded perfect too. I think we're talking about the same thing.
Probably. Yeah.
Either way, it sounds like they're doing the perfect things for that game. Mm-hmm. So, good job.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fallout 76, Matt, take it away.
Okay. Todd Howard came out, and he was funny. Lots of jokes, lots of discussion. Fallout 76 is going to be an online, always game. Now, this is something that I keep seeing people ask questions about. Todd Howard said you can play the game solo. You can. This game is, as far as I can tell, it's Sea of Thieves in the Fallout universe. If you get killed, you don't lose any progression. You don't lose anything. You don't lose your levels. You just respawn. I'm guessing that you lose, if you had an item from a quest, you probably lose it. Maybe you can go you can go find it again. You can go pick it up from your corpse. I don't know, but
he called it a soft core survival game,
right? And that's totally Sea of Thieves, right? Like you can. The only thing you lose in Sea of Thieves is if you have treasure on your ship and your ship gets stolen or sunk, you lose the treasure. That's not really that big of a deal. You don't have anything to lose on your person. You don't lose your guns. You don't lose levels. Nothing. That's what I think this is going to be. It's going to be Fallout that you can play co-op. Nobody will. This is going to be a griefer's paradise, especially with the whole, there are multiple nukes on the map that you can. So again, we talked about this. They talked about it. They made it very clear that there is a building aspect to this. It's very Rust-like in that respect. So you're supposed to build up a community and this and that, and then you can get X amount of people to go, and if you can get X amount of people to go into the silos together and do the quest, you can just nuke any settlement you want. This whole game is going to end up Griefer City. I do not see this game going well for a lot of people.
Well, certainly they're designing around that. Like, they don't want it to turn into that. I mean, they want some
no,
of that.
No. Here's the thing. That's what kills me, is that they specifically said in that thing, you might meet some friends, you might meet some not so nice people.
Sure.
And then they showed people blowing up settlements. Like and I get what they're doing where you don't really lose anything, and the settlements, like if you want to move, you can like pull your settlement down in theory and log off, and then you can place it wherever you want. But spending time building a giant settlement to have somebody use a nuclear weapon against, like, I just don't see that. For me, that just seems like a waste of time. This is totally Fallout Online. That's what this is, and I get that, and we'll wait and see what it comes out to. But I just see this game being a nightmare for anybody who wants to play it straight, because you're just not going to run into that. You're gonna, surely
that's going to be part of it.
You are going to run into people that are going to find ways to fat man your face all the time. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Fallout as a franchise, I feel like, has encouraged that too. Like, it's kind of wacky in that way. That world is punishing in it's the whole Vault Boy aesthetic. Like, it's happily nuclear,
right? But this is something that I've said before. Fallout is, to me, it's always been a very solitary experience. Like, that's kind of been the point. Sure. You've been the lone survivor. You're the one that's supposed to fix everything.
You against the world.
Yeah, and then it's fine when it's in the game. I guess it's just like, my concern is that you will have people burn through the game like they do with everything like this, get leveled up, and then now I'm going to spend time screwing with everybody else. Like, it's cool for you. It sucks for anybody else who wants to actually play the game. And
which is why I say they're going to try and mitigate that. Surely that's on their radar, because then nobody's going to want to play it. But
and if this goes the way Rust goes, which is again kind of what it seems like, it's doing a light version of Rust. I just don't see that. I don't see them fixing that. I don't know how you fix it. It's like a lot of banning people and
you don't
doing
completely.
That. It's like, I don't know. Like, it's a conundrum that I have very little interest in.
Okay, so you've come back the other way then, it seems, because we talked about this when they kind of first announced it, and you were like, I don't know, and we're like, oh, maybe we'll see. And then I feel like when they were talking about it, I saw you say some stuff like, oh, they might have actually got me on this, but now it seems like you're back over at the
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of thought about it more, and it does go back to, I don't know that I really want to play this game with other people. I just Fallout is a solitary thing. It's an isolated thing, and I don't know that I want to engage in trying to complete a storyline while other buttholes are
right.
Actively getting in my way. Like, that's not fun if it's constantly setting the story progression back. And then on top of that, the other issue that comes up is, does Bethesda figure out an issue to figure out how to avoid the Sea of Thieves conundrum of spawn camping? Like, that's the biggest issue at Sea of Thieves. Sucks because you get killed on your own ship. The enemies can sit on your ship. You respawn there, they just kill you. Right. Like, and that we ran in, and that really, really does kind of suck, because then your only other option is scuttle your ship. You can't fight for it. Right. You try to get to their ship, but it's like a whole thing.
And I feel like there's some of that just doesn't ever go away. Like, that's a different game. Like, I feel like some of this is the genre being like, well, there's going to be some of this, and
for sure,
it doesn't necessarily change that it sucks. So
right,
it doesn't necessarily change our opinion. So
no, like I said, I will wait. I'll see what this turns into, but I don't expect a lot out of it. For me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm there with you. It looks good, like the Fallout-y aspects of it.
It looks like cool. It looks like a Bethesda Fallout game.
And they were pretty upfront, I'll say, about this being kind of a new endeavor for them.
Yeah,
like they talked about having a beta and how this is kind of new to them, and
right.
It's in good hands. It's just whether or not it's going to be for us, I guess, in the end.
Yeah.
And that's it for Bethesda, except for they had 2 little trailers real quick at the end. Their new game, Starfield, exists.
Brand new IP for them.
It's in space. Elder Scrolls 6 exists. They're working on it.
Great job, Bethesda.
Yeah, they're scarily good at press conferences, it seems. I mean, they're very kind of dry and comedic about it. Like, it's very much not a press conference to them, it seems. And I think that's the right approach. You know, they got the right people too, Todd Howard and
Pete Hines. Yeah. I mean, there was one more thing we should probably talk about, actually, from Bethesda.
Go for it.
You know, Wolfenstein Youngblood?
Yeah, sure.
How are you feeling about that? I ask you because you just recently finished Wolfenstein and then you did the Old Blood. My main question here is: are you interested in jumping into this? Like, are you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I left it off because number one, there wasn't much. They didn't give much. Your BJ Blazkowicz's 2 daughters, and it's co-op, and
which that's to me is a big deal. Like, you don't usually get Wolfenstein in co-op. I don't think it's ever been done before.
No.
But I really like the idea. Like, I am very interested in this because you can play it solo, and you'll go back and forth between the daughters, I guess. But I'm very fascinated by co-op Wolfenstein.
Co-op's better, sure. Like, add co-op to anything, it's better. Like, that's a fun thing. But that's kind of all the add here for me, I guess. Like Wolfenstein's combat wasn't ever really the thing. Like that whole.
I mean, I thought it was. I like the story, and I like the.
Yeah.
You know, it's that.
Exactly.
Pete Hines was pretty funny when they were talking about this. You know, he said something to the effect of, "This is our way of reminding everybody that we say, you know, Nazis, and we
on
say it on every platform."
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I support that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely.
So if we get
they
more
want me
games,
to hit a button that says agree, I'll do that. I'll download that.
If we get more games where I get to shoot Nazis, look, I'm going to be for that all the time. It's, you know.
Sure. I have no thing against that.
Like I said, repeated. Co-op Wolfenstein I'm into. But that's it. That's all we got to say. For E3 today, next week we will have a wrap-up with everything else that's come and all the interesting things that we find. We'll also maybe talk about more Bloodborne and
sounds like it.
Burnout, because we want to get your last little feelings on that. Just
the end.
Just to see how it feels.
The end of Burnout.
Yeah, the end of it. The tip in the end.
The burnout of Burnout.
Come back on Thursday. Book Club for Movies. This week, we watched the family-oriented Paddington, and you're really going to want to hear what we have to say about that, because it is tantalizing.
Probably. I sent you a picture of a splayed bear over the weekend.
Yeah, that was inappropriate in every respect.
So tune in for that. And thank you for hanging out, as always. 0HITPoints.com, podcast at 0HITPoints.com. Do it all. Be it all. 0 hit points.
That's it. That's the new one.